Anyway, let's listen. Let's watch the the beans on toast equivalent of political commentary from friend of the show, one of our favorites, Cuck Todd.
Rule out the no-fly zone.
Wow, that's the audio is really.
Think it's possible.
3 months. Love you, Ajan Denkies.
Why rule out the no-fly zone? Why not make Putin think it's possible?
I wonder why. Let's think for a moment. And I posted about this on my Instagram story last night. There was a YouGov study there was a YouGov poll that was conducted, okay, that I found to be really, really, really interesting, okay? I found to be really, really strange, really interesting. The YouGov poll showed, and we've covered it before, I believe, on the stream as well, but the YouGov poll showed that...
At HasanAbi 10 months. You
Here.
helped me through dark
the
times.
YouGov poll from a couple days back showed there is net support in the United States for sanctions, sending money to Ukraine, sending weapons to Ukraine, sending troops to NATO countries, and a no-fly zone at plus 25. Ukraine in NATO plus 20. Cyber attack on Russia is at 0. Send soldiers to help, not fight, minus 5. Drones on Russia, minus 19. Airstrike Russia, minus 33. Send soldiers to fight, minus 35. Now, the reason why Americans, and I'm not faulting them, I am faulting, however, Cuck Todd and the media. The reason why I am not faulting Americans for this is because we have very deliberately and very carefully in our media manufactured consent and have made no-fly zones seem like something entirely different than boots on the ground military warfare. For some reason, well, not for some reason, because we do this to Libya. We try to do it in Syria. We try to do it in other countries. So we have to justify doing it so people don't fucking think what no-fly zones actually are. And you can do a no-fly zone for countries that you can bully mercilessly with your imperial war machine, but you can't do that to fucking Russia. For the same reason that you can't actually fucking put boots on the ground inside of Ukraine and get into an active hot war with Russia. No-fly zone and sending soldiers in the fight are the exact same thing. Because people don't understand what a no-fly zone is. Chuck Todd knows better, but he's a fucking piece of shit, and he's lying to the American people. He's misinforming the American people. A no-fly zone means you have to enforce it. It means you have to have planes, American planes, or NATO country planes flying sometimes from NATO countries into Ukrainian airspace and shoot down Russian planes. Okay? That is how no-fly zones work, but Americans don't know this. Okay? And the reason why they don't know this, the reason why they don't understand it, and I do not fault them for this, is because clearly, if they didn't think of the consequences, if they didn't think of the consequences of a fucking sending soldiers in the fight, they wouldn't say they wouldn't say minus 35 on that. You get it? They get World War III. They get nuclear holocaust. They get that this will cause that. But they think this is different than this. It's because we've done it time and time again, and it's because we've propagandized no-fly zones as though it's something different than boots on the ground military warfare. No-fly zones have to be enforced by American pilots if we're doing it with Americans. They have to be enforced by with American air superiority. They have to be enforced by shooting down Russian fighter jets. Okay? It's not some magical barrier. You don't go Wingardium Leviosa on Ukraine and it fucking, lift up Ukraine. Okay? It's not Harry Potter. It's a war. But people don't get that, which is what people want. No, they don't. They don't want that. If I were to describe what a no-fly zone is to many people, and I have so far, people have asked me literally in the DMs since I've posted that, like, what the fuck is the difference? Like, I don't really understand this. Like, can you explain this to me? And every time I have this conversation, people recognize it's like, oh shit, I had no idea, my bad. And that is an anecdote that corresponds to the data. Because the data shows that they clearly have a different perspective on sending troops in, but they don't have that same perspective on a no-fly zone.
First, again,
my admiration for President Zelensky has no bounds. And if I were in his shoes, I'd be asking and looking for everything possible from everyone in every place around the world. And as I said, what we've already done is extraordinary. And just to remind people, over the past year alone, from the United States alone, more than $1 billion in security assistance, lethal defensive weapons that are being put to very effective service by Ukrainians now in defense of their country, and other measures that we're looking at going forward. Just in the last week alone, Chuck, we have delivered more than $200 million worth of security assistance into the hands of Ukrainians. So all of that is ongoing, all of that's continuing. The President's been very clear about one thing all along as well, which is we're not going to put the United States in direct conflict with Russia, not have American planes flying against Russian planes, or our soldiers on the ground in Ukraine, because for everything we're doing for Ukraine, the President also has a responsibility to not get us into a direct conflict, a direct war with Russia, a nuclear power, and risk a war that expands even beyond Ukraine.
Wow. Even the fucking warmongers are saying this. I wonder if we will learn a lesson from this. Probably not. I'm sure that the media, which has a responsibility to accurately tell the truths and to accurately disseminate information, will do their due diligence and describe the difference between a no-fly zone, or rather the similarities between a no-fly zone and just like fucking the likelihood of World War III happening in the aftermath of boots-on-the-ground military warfare and hot war between Russia and any NATO country due to Article 5. Probably not, though. Probably Cuck Todd will keep fucking crying and saying, oh, let's go. Let's get it. You know, no-fly zone, baby. Let's do it.
To Europe. That's clearly not our interest. What we're trying to do is end this war in Ukraine, not start a larger one.
Let me ask you this.
And by the way, keep in mind what keep in mind what a no-fly zone. Just so people understand too, what a no-fly zone means. It means that if you declare a space no-fly and a Russian plane flies through it, it means we have to shoot it down.
Wait, why didn't they fucking describe it like this when they were talking about Libya? That's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder why the expectation of a no-fly zone was like way fucking higher. That's crazy, man. It's weird. It's like, oh, because Libya can't do anything. That's right. It's because they don't have fucking nukes. Oh, that's oh, totally, dude. There you go. That's why the HasanAbi doctrine stands. Okay, if you want to make sure that you can have a fucking, make sure that you have any sort of sovereignty, any sort of autonomy from Western imperialist superpowers that want to fuck your shit up. Gotta get nukes, my boy. Rule number 1. Get those motherfucking nukes, baby.